"You won't be needed anymore, Claire. Security will escort you out." The words landed like a slap in the hushed elegance of the Lancaster suite. 12 CEOs sat in perfect symmetry, pens poised over memorandums worth nearly $2 billion. Light glinted off polished crystal, the air holding that heavy stillness that comes just before months of negotiation finally crystallize. I had orchestrated every detail, seating charts to balance egos, menus chosen to honor traditions, translation teams ready but unobtrusive. This was my room. Yet Nathan Cole stood in the doorway, smirk fixed, voice pitched for maximum humiliation. From my left, Mr. Whitmore of London gave me a subtle nod. Not sympathy, recognition. He understood. I'd given 15 years to this company, 15 years of red-eye flights, of missed anniversaries, of learning enough French to negotiate without an interpreter and enough German to avoid costly errors. I wasn't ornamental, I was the bridge that made these deals possible. Nathan was everything I wasn't. Loud where I was careful, flashy where I was precise. 18 months in his chair, and already he'd stamped his name on work I'd built brick by brick. He once said the company needed younger energy. Today, he turned that insult into spectacle. I looked at my chair, my place, now bearing his leather folio. Heat rose in my face, not shame but fury. I rose slowly, feeling every eye track me. The Lancaster suite no longer felt warm, it felt like winter. I didn't walk out right away. Perhaps it was stubbornness, or perhaps the weight of 15 years pressing against my ribs. I remembered Shanghai, the 23-hour negotiation that ended with a handshake minutes before the deadline. I remembered Berlin, where I missed my own anniversary because only I could finalize the draft. My marriage hadn't survived, but the company had. That was the difference between me and Nathan Cole. I built trust quietly, year after year, across borders and languages. Nathan built an image, tailored suits, polished lines, and empty confidence. Where I saw bridges, he saw podiums. Last year, Alan Richter, head of a Berlin consortium, told me over coffee, "I wouldn't sign a cent of this if your name weren't on it." The ink only dried because I was there. Months later, it was Nathan striding across a stage, trophy in hand, for the very project I had salvaged. He never mentioned me. He didn't need to. The cameras were on him. Now, in the Lancaster suite, he played his masterpiece of cruelty. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. A message from Emily, one of the few assistants I trusted. "He's brought her. She's waiting in the hall." I didn't need to ask who. Nathan's strategic hire. The younger face meant to replace me. The anger came fast, hot, instinctive. But years in negotiation had taught me stillness. Rage was useless unless sharpened. I adjusted my jacket, reviewed the seating plan, and carried on as though nothing had changed. Nathan thought he had orchestrated my erasure. What he didn't know was that I had anticipated a moment like this months earlier. During preliminary talks, I had written a clause into the agreement, simple, discreet, but ironclad. If the principal liaison named in the contract was replaced before final signing, the memorandums would be void. It never mentioned me by name, but every draft bore mine as the liaison. Nathan had signed off without ever reading beyond the headlines. I could feel the weight of the hardware token in my bag. Without my encrypted signature, every document on that table was nothing more than expensive paper. I had built the safeguard after nearly losing a deal to a falsified draft years ago. Now, it was my quiet shield. When Nathan slid into my chair, his voice rang with manufactured confidence. "Let's proceed." But momentum is fragile. The CEO from Oslo leaned back and asked calmly, "Mr. Cole, could you clarify Clause 17? The question was deliberate. Nathan froze. He hadn't been in the room when I negotiated that keystone. One by one, the leaders closed their folders. Interpreters gathered their notes. Then Oslo delivered the verdict. "As per the diplomatic clause, our memorandum is void." Chairs scraped back. The deal dissolved before Nathan's eyes. I didn't have to speak. My silence was louder than his flailing words. By the end of that week, my phone rang with offers. From Whitmore, from Richter, from others who trusted me, not the company. For years I had built bridges for others to cross. Now, at last, I was the one deciding where they led.